Hello everyone. Today we're going to be looking at my tadpole lure, which I made with molds available at 3dprintedmolds.com. So without further ado, let's get started pouring some plastic. Now one of the interesting things about these molds is that you can double them up like this if you swap out the screws they come with these longer M3 by 50 screws. So keep that in mind. And for this first pour, I decided to go with this nice green color. I guess you could call it a watermelon that I had some extra laying around from some previous pours I've done. If you're curious how I color my baits, I actually melt crayons in the molten plastic, and it gets that nice, really nice color. I'm pleasantly surprised how well that. Alright, we let our molds sit for a bit after we poured them. Plastic's firmed up now, so let's take them apart and see what we got. And here comes the moment we've all been waiting for, the big reveal of the very first printed tadpole lure. And here we go. Look at that. Now this lure came out pretty nice, except for the fact that upon taking it apart, I immediately ripped the tail off, which caused that one to be scrapped. But luckily we poured two, so let's get the other one out and see how we did there. I could tell by wiggling the tail this lure had some promise. To fix that issue we just had, I decided to hop back into my CAD program and fix this thin area where the tail had ripped and make it a little more sturdy so that upon future demolding I could lessen the risk of tearing it apart. So here the software I'm using is called FreeCAD, and you can see I'm manipulating this primitive feature, primitive cylinder to be exact, to get it so that it comes up into the body of the tadpole, whereas previously it didn't go all the way, causing a thin section that would cause it to rip when I took it out. So this is a super simple, easy edit. Should not take any time at all, and then we'll be off printing a new mold. So now that we got the updated CAD model, all we have to do is take that updated CAD file and load it into the assembly file so we can do our Boolean cut and actually make the mold that we're going to print. Make this updated part a reality. So again, this will be a super quick, easy thing to do. Shouldn't take any time at all, especially because we already had a working file that we printed and tested, right? So let's do our Boolean cut and get going for some unknown reason. Okay, let's try this again with a different Boolean operation. See if we can fix this really quick. So, okay, it did not like that one either. It's okay. We can fix this. It's just gonna take a little bit of doing. Tried, and it did not like that one either. Okay, this might take some doing to fix up here. So then for the next hour and 49 minutes and some odd seconds, I spent trying to troubleshoot the Boolean operation to figure out why all of a sudden this model that I had taken that worked was now broken. And I had a wonderful time doing it. I love doing CAD. I had so much fun. And if you would like to avoid the fun that I had doing this and modeling these lures, you can purchase these molds yourself and skip this step at 3dprintedmolds.com. So you should do that. So I went to bed, went to work the next day, came back home, jumped on the CAD software and solved the problem, which was this little sphere here, in approximately 9 minutes. I don't know exactly what with the sphere was causing the problem. I think it had something to do with I had mirrored the body in the part workbench, and for some reason It just did not like that when I tried to do the Boolean operations you're seeing now. But I removed the sphere, and then it worked. But anyway, regardless, we got through all of the difficulty with the CAD software. Um, we got it working, and then we were good to go. So we took our Tadpole, loaded it into our slicer software, and got printing. Now I don't want to go too far into the actual printing settings in this video, but I will tell you I'm using PETG filament with a 0.3 millimeter layer height, 0.3 millimeter first layer height, and then you want at least a 3 millimeter thick shell the whole way around the where the molten plastic's going to be. So that works out to being about 7 walls with a 10 top shell and bottom shell layers. So we got our models sliced up, and we're ready to print. We're going to be printing today on our FlashForge Adventure 5M. This has been a really great machine, Core XY printer. I would highly recommend it to anybody looking for a about $300 3D printer. Don't think you could go wrong with it. And 49 minutes later, we've got our finished print. Similar to the beginning of the video, I did print 2 of these off so we can stack them up and pour this nice white color that after the first one I just felt compelled to pour this nice white color. I just felt that this Tadpole lure would look great in this off-white color. I just don't see anything wrong with the mental images here. And with that, let's give the mold some time to cool down and then break them apart, as I will show you right meow. Alright, our mold's cooled down, so it's time for the big reveal of our Tadpole lure. As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, that is clearly a tadpole. Nothing else that could be. Looks beautiful. And as we can see here, critical moment, that insert just comes right out and does not rip off the tail. Perfect. And there it is, our perfect little Tadpole lure. And like my strange Uncle Jim, good things always come in pairs. So with that, let's open our second one. And like opening a loot box on CSGO, the suspense is killing me. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, a oddly coffee creamer colored tadpole lure. Using my left hand because it feels different, here are my 2 tadpole lures. And with that, we were off to the races to see how many lures we could pour before my plastic cooled down. Because when it cools down, this is what it sounds like. That is the actual audio from that video of trying to suck the plastic into the injector. Alright, I promise, no more off-color jokes. My plastic was now cold, and I had the results of my work. The final reveal of the coffee creamer colored tadpole lures. Mighty fine looking, if I do say so myself. The fruits of my labor now realized: 8 tadpole lures, 2 molds, and a pile of plastic that can only be described as resembling the contents of your mother's stomach the night you were conceived. With about an hour of daylight left, I tied on my tadpole lure and headed down to the river. Jerking the tadpole gave this really nice tail flip action scene here, and honestly dragging it through the water left a little bit to be desired, which told me probably a drop shot rig was going to be the ticket for this particular lure. With that, I was off to my favorite fishing ground, and with my socks and Crocs protecting me, I trudged through what can only be described as whitewater rapids. Despite that, I made it to my favorite spot and was ready to try out my tadpole. And it didn't take long and before I was met with success. This green sunfish thought my tadpole looked great, but my earlier fears were confirmed when my lure kept catching these weeds. A drop shot rig was definitely going to be the way to go. Wasting none of the available sunlight I had left, I quickly hastened this drop shot rig with nothing but a toothpick and a piece of string. However, it took no time until ripped tails struck again. But this time, it meant success. A smallmouth, the fish I was after. And it turned out that the green sunfish from earlier had a friend. By now I had mere moments of sunlight left, and that's when disaster struck. My drop shot rig failed me. So I tied on a new jig head, and in the process of that, I dropped it into this goose poop and also lost the jig head. With the sun setting behind the trees and having done what I had set out to do, I took my final cast and appreciated the beauty of the moment. This mold and others are available at 3dprintedmolds.com. Hope to see you there.